And again, long-term treatment with the estrogen was associated with a reduction in the risk of colon cancer, fatal colon cancer, cancer that kills you.
还有一个研究说明了，雌性荷尔蒙治疗也会降低您，直肠癌的风险。
So again, I can't emphasize this more because timing is everything in menopause. So early treatment really important.
医生还想再强调一下，在接受荷尔蒙治疗中，及早治疗是最关键的。
So estrogen has 400 jobs in the body. So I always ask women, what of these 400 jobs is no longer important as you get older? So it affects your brain, it's going to affect your quality of sleep, it affects your mood, it affects neurotransmitters.
雌性荷尔蒙在您身体中有超过400多项的功能，它比方说有你的骨骼健康，然后像失眠、多梦，头痛、易怒，然后抑郁啊，记忆力丢失，都和雌性荷尔蒙有关。
So really, it has quite a few effects on your hair, your skin, your metabolism.
还有头发、皮肤和新陈代谢都和雌性荷尔蒙有关。
Estrogen deficiency often causes changes in your ability to think clearly. So your ability to recall a word, or your ability to do calculations, or even your ability to cope. So women will present with a feeling of overwhelm.
雌性荷尔蒙的缺失会带来您的认知障碍，比方说您就是比较容易忘记事情，这些都和雌性荷尔蒙的缺失有关。
There are some tip-offs for women who may be more prone to emotional problems during menopause. So women who have more emotional problems before their periods or after they give birth are those women that we want to be careful of as they enter into menopause because they may present with more depressive symptoms.
对于女性来说，曾经有过就是您如果经期前会有烦躁啊、抑郁这种症状，或者您有产后抑郁症的这些女性，她们在经历更年期的时候，她们的情绪变化就会更严重。
Estrogen helps you sleep well. So if you're not sleeping for night after night after night, it's definitely going to affect your mood.
雌性激素还会影响到您的睡眠。如果您的睡眠不好的话，它也会影响到您的情绪。
And we know estrogen protects your heart, and through a number of mechanisms, it has a great effect on cholesterol, and just a number of the factors that we look at, that you can look at through the lab. Estrogen actually has a very positive effect on all of these.
雌性荷尔蒙对心脏的保护也是很关键的。有研究表明，接受雌性荷尔蒙治疗之后，我们一些心血管的指标都会得到加强。
But why bioidentical hormones? What does that mean? We want to give you back the same hormone that you used to make. The reason is that the hormones are metabolized differently and they react differently if they're synthetic versus exactly the same chemical composition of what you used to make when you were young.
我们现在说的是天然的荷尔蒙。为什么我们需要用天然荷尔蒙呢？因为天然荷尔蒙它和我们身体自身产的荷尔蒙是一样的。如果用化学合成的荷尔蒙，它到我们身体里，它会有它可能会产生不一样的效果，然后会导致一些别的副作用。
The other benefit is that we can customize a prescription for you. So it's not one size fits everybody.
另外一个好处关于天然荷尔蒙的就是，它可以根据您自身的不同情况来帮您定制您所需要的量，所以它和化学合成的荷尔蒙 还有一个区别就是它不是一种荷尔蒙，所有人都可以用。
So there are three kinds of estrogen. E1 is estrone. It's the estrogen of menopause. You make it in your fat. It doesn't do anything good. I don't give it back.
现在我们说的是荷尔蒙中的雌性荷尔蒙中的第一种，它是您在更年期的时候自己身体会产生的，这种它不算是一种对身体有帮助的荷尔蒙。
E2 estradiol is the main estrogen that you make when you're young. We always give that back. So it has 400 jobs.
第二种荷尔蒙就是 E2，这种荷尔蒙是我们年轻的时候身体会产生的，然后也是我们刚刚提到的，它在我们身体里有超过400多种功能。
E3 estriol is the safest of all the estrogens. It's weak, but it's got some very wonderful benefits, and we try to give that one back because it has a lot of good effects without added risk.
第三种荷尔蒙也就是 E3，它虽然它也是我们年轻的时候身体产生的，它的效果虽然不是很强烈，但是它是一个很安全的荷尔蒙，所以有的时候我们也需要接受这种荷尔蒙。
There have been a number of studies done on estriol and breast cancer protection, and estriol seems to really reduce the risk of breast cancer.
有一些研究，他们在研究雌性荷尔蒙和乳腺癌之间的风险和关系。研究证明，雌性荷尔蒙会降低您得乳腺癌的风险。
In one particular study, when they compared estriol with synthetic hormone estrogen, the synthetic estrogen actually doubled the risk of breast cancer.
另外一个研究就是，就像我刚刚提到的，天然荷尔蒙和化学合成荷尔蒙的对比，化学合成的荷尔蒙它比天然荷尔蒙会增加得乳腺癌的几率。
Estriol, when you use hormones, when you use estrogen and you still have uterus, you have to use them both because you can build up the lining of the uterus. So, but estriol doesn't seem to have that effect. So you could use estriol all by itself without concern of causing overstimulation of the lining of the uterus. So estriol doesn't cause overgrowth of the lining of the uterus, whereas estradiol all by itself can do that. E2, estradiol, will stimulate the lining of the uterus, but estriol, E3, will not.
然后我们刚刚提到的雌性激素，第二种雌性激素。它会让我们子宫里的子宫内的内膜加厚，而第三种荷尔蒙就不会有这样的功能。
So early in hormone treatment, you would always have to balance estrogen with progesterone, because if you just took estrogen, it would increase your risk of cancer of the uterus.
所以说我们在接受雌性荷尔蒙治疗的时候，一定要平衡雌性荷尔蒙和孕酮这两种荷尔蒙，因为如果我们只给病人雌性荷尔蒙的话，就会增加他们子宫癌的几率。
And we don't see that with estriol.
然后所以说，如果我们用第三种荷尔蒙的话，就不会增加这种几率。
Estriol also seems to have a beneficial effect on your heart.
就是第三种荷尔蒙，它会对您的心脏也会有帮助。
Okay. So estriol has a good effect on the heart. Now, the safety of hormones, bioidentical or not, depends on a few things. When we started,
荷尔蒙治疗的安全性，它有几个关键。第一个就是我们什么时候开始这个治疗，
how much we give,
然后我们就是我们需要用多少的雌性荷尔蒙，
what we give,
我们给病人的是哪一种荷尔蒙，
and how the body eliminates it.
然后还有就是病人自身的身体是怎么吸收这些荷尔蒙的。
So, when women are afraid of hormone treatment and breast cancer, it's really about what those women do with their estrogen, what they turn it into.
所以对那些会担心荷尔蒙会造成乳腺癌的女性，最关键的就是当她们使用这个荷尔蒙之后，这个荷尔蒙到身体里会变成什么。
So there are metabolites of estrogen that can be measured, and they're measuring it at the med spa. So we know what you turn it into, and then we can, if you're turning it into something that may be dangerous for you, we can help change that metabolite.
所以我们有一种检测是检测您的雌性荷尔蒙到身体中，它转化的项目。如果我们发现您的雌性荷尔蒙到身体中转化成对您身体不好的荷尔蒙，这样就要及早的预防。
Okay, we'll switch gears and talk about progesterone. So progesterone too is very important. It's all about balance.
我们现在要说的是孕酮这一种荷尔蒙，它也是非常重要的。它在荷尔蒙治疗中需要和其他的荷尔蒙达到平衡。
Again, progesterone is bioidentical versus the synthetic progestins.
我们现在说的是，天然的荷尔蒙和一种化学合成的孕酮。
So progesterone has a number of very positive effects. It's good for your bones.
孕酮它对身体有很多帮助，它对我们的骨骼很好。
It decreases anxiety.
它会帮助我们有焦虑的产生。
It's good for your blood pressure.
对血压有帮助。
It's good for your hair.
头发。
It helps to reduce fat.
然后也会帮助您减脂肪。
But the synthetic progestins have the opposite effect.
但是化学合成的孕酮，它就会有相反的效果。
As a matter of fact, the synthetic progestins even stop the protective effect of estrogen on your heart.
如果我们服用化学合成的孕酮的话，它甚至会阻止雌性荷尔蒙在身体里帮助心脏的这种效果。
It's very synthetic progestins are irritating to the brain.
化学合成的孕酮它会刺激我们的大脑。
And are associated with a number of side effects that we don't necessarily see in the bioidentical progesterone.
化学合成的孕酮它会有一些副作用，它和通常这些副作用我们在用天然的荷尔蒙、天然的孕酮中是不会发现的。
Progesterone has a protective effect against breast cancer.
孕酮会帮助您防止乳腺癌的几率。
In this study, they took women who were on their way to surgery and they had a breast cancer. And for 2 weeks before they went to surgery, they received either just estradiol or estradiol and progesterone or just progesterone. So the group...
这个是一个研究，它主要是研究那些得了乳腺癌，然后即将要做手术的这些女性。
The group that received just estrogen had an increase in cell division by 230%.
那些只用了雌性荷尔蒙进行治疗的女性，她们的癌细胞已经增加了230%。
But the progesterone-only group actually reduced it by 400%.
那些用了孕酮治疗的女性，她们的癌细胞反而降低了400%。
And when the two were used together, progesterone actually eliminated the effect of estrogen on cell division.
如果把雌性荷尔蒙和孕酮同时治疗的时候，孕酮会帮助降低雌性荷尔蒙对癌细胞增多的这个影响。
We use a synthetic progestin called Provera, but it increases your risk of breast cancer.
现在说的是一种叫 Provera 的化学合成的孕酮，这种药物它会增加乳腺癌的几率。
So bioidentical hormones are much safer when it comes to progesterone.
所以对孕酮来说，天然合成的荷尔蒙要比化学合成的荷尔蒙更安全的多。
Progesterone has a beneficial effect on your heart.
孕酮还会对您的心脏有帮助。
Whereas the synthetic progestins increase your risk of heart disease.
但是化学合成的孕酮就会增加您的心脏病的几率。
Okay, what about sex drive in women? It is important because a good sex drive in a woman makes for a better life as she gets older. But it's complicated in women because it's not always just about hormones.
现在我们说的是对于女性性欲的影响，因为性生活在女性的健康中有起到很大的作用，但是女性是稍微复杂一些，所以也不仅仅是关于荷尔蒙。
But it is important because it improves your immune system.
但是荷尔蒙会帮助性生活也会帮助您的免疫系统。
It lowers stress.
会帮助您减轻压力。
Can improve depression.
会帮您预防您的抑郁。
So there's a number of other things that affect a woman's sex drive, and balancing hormones certainly can make it better.
还有一些会影响我们性生活的这些用荷尔蒙治疗也可以得到帮助。
In women, testosterone is something that we can use to improve sex drive, but also it helps to keep your muscles strong, your bones strong, and it helps to lower anxiety levels.
对女性来说，雄性荷尔蒙在我们身体里也有帮助，它会帮助我们的骨骼健康，然后增加肌肉，然后增强精力等等。
It can, you can use testosterone in women who have had breast cancer and really improve their quality of life and their energy.
对于那些得了乳腺癌的女性，雄性激素对她们的帮助也很大，因为它可以帮助这些女性有更好的精力。
Okay, so we don't have time to talk about men today because we're running short, but I just want to say men go through menopause.
我们今天的时间有限，所以我们没有办法详细的讲男性的更年期了，但是男性的确也是有更年期的。
This is a questionnaire. If you want a copy of this, we can make it available. You can give it to your significant person.
这个是一个调查问卷，如果您觉得您需要的话，您可以跟我们要一份，然后您可以给您的另一半，让他做一下自我检测。
And all of these hormones are important. So we do age because our hormones fall. There are other hormones that are important, but we don't have time to talk about them all today.
我们对于荷尔蒙治疗中还有一些其他的荷尔蒙也很重要，比方说 DHEA、皮质醇等等，只是我们今天没有那么多时间可以一一讨论。
But at the spa, they will evaluate all of these and have a conversation with you about them.
但是我们在锐健我们可以提供一个检测，能检测您所有对您重要的荷尔蒙，然后给您一个更好的评估。
It's about restoring balance, and that's a key to healthy aging.
谢谢。
非常感谢那个科尔教授及翻译给我们带来的分享。那么接下来的时间呢，如果有想跟科尔那个继续进行交谈的，我们在楼上还有会议厅，我们可以进行单独的这种询问。如果想有拍照的会员，也可以找我们有摄影师来帮拍家照留个念。再次感谢大家今天能光临，谢谢。